All right, we have yet another chapter in the storied rivalry between Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark. This one a bit more controversial than what we've seen in the past. But some of the talking points and conversations are very, very similar compared to some of those other ones that we've seen before. So obviously, you guys saw it. Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark had a bit of a mini scuffle, not really full blown out, where Caitlin Clark pushed Angel Reese to the ground. Angel Reese gets up and looks like she's about to retaliate. Then it gets broken up pretty quickly. So that was obviously the situation. There's no doubt that this is a legitimate rivalry. Every time they match up against each other in some capacity, there is some level of smoke there, which you have to love as a basketball fan, right? There's nothing more great to see than seeing two marquee players get really competitive, get chippy with one another. It's good with any sport, right? It's good with the NFL, right? It's good with the NBA. It's good with college basketball. I don't watch baseball at all, but I feel like it's good with baseball if that's something that happens. It's good across sports when you have those marquee players going at it and getting really chippy. But what's been really rough to see is seeing these amazing basketball moments happen, these moments that we should be appreciating as fans, and seeing them get hijacked. And by hijacked, I mean people are applying whatever biases or issues they have to the situation, and they're making it something different than basketball, right? It's been really ugly seeing Angel Reese throughout the course of her career do things that you would see any great athlete do. And that's being confident in her abilities, right? Talking trash, right? Which is something that we've admired with some other athletes, and that drives a lot of fandom. Seeing Angel Reese do those things and get backlash for it through the course of her career, it's been so anti-basketball and anti what the game is about, right? Like, we're supposed to appreciate that sort of stuff in athletes. I'm gonna use an example. Anthony Edwards. We all know him, right? We look at him as the future face of the NBA. He's very expressive. He's very confident in his abilities, right? He's very outward with what he's saying and how he feels. He just said a few days ago that he feels like he's better than Luka Doncic in SGA. We look at him do that, and we look at him as the future face of the league, and we fall in love with that. We fall in love with Michael Jordan doing that through his career, right? Being very expressive and confident in his ability. We saw Kobe do that, right? And we called that the Mamba mentality. So when Angel Reese does it, and sometimes at the expense of Caitlin Clark, it becomes an issue. And again, here we go, where people are applying whatever biases or issues they have onto a situation that usually traditionally we admire as basketball fans. I don't like when people come into something under the guise of being fans of a sport or whatever the case may be, and they ruin it by applying whatever biases or personal issues they have onto the situation. I don't care which way you look at it. There are some racial undertones with how people address and talk about Angel Reese. There's no other way around it, right? I mean, the issue right now is apparently somebody was in the stands throwing racial slurs at her, and that's not outside of the realm of possibility, considering some of the things we've heard about Angel Reese in the past. Right, and what people have said about her and said to her. We heard that she's received death threats and she's been up on the stand crying about it before. That's not fake. That's real stuff. And again, we have people applying whatever personal issues they have for whatever reason to basketball and ruining the sport and taking away something that's supposed to be beautiful and supposed to be appreciated by fans and applying their own issues to it. We've seen that happen a ton of times. We see that happen across not just sports, but we've seen it happen with music, right? Let's look at, and I reference it a ton, that Kendrick and Drake battle. That's a hip hop moment, and people are applying whatever personal biases or issues they have towards it, and it just became a whole different thing. And it was kind of like, are we really appreciating this for what it was? Now, granted, they both said things that made it a little bit different than just your typical everyday rap battle, but still, like, going into it, there were some talking points that were so anti-hip hop, it made it tough to enjoy the moment when it first started. Like, I remember Kendrick starting off with Like That, right? And the first thing people start saying is, oh, he's not relevant enough to go at Drake. Like, since when do numbers play a factor in appreciating somebody's ability to rap, in appreciating the competitive aspect of hip hop? It is not the exact same situation, but there are a lot of similarities where people take their own issues and their own personal biases and bring it to something that's supposed to be appreciated and turn it into something completely different. A lot of these so-called WNBA fans and a certain sector of them have taken what should be a great basketball moment or a great set of basketball moments and have turned it into something else. And it's been really ugly to see. And it's been applied to Angel Reese on such an ugly level throughout the years. It happened at LSU. She's talking trash to Caitlin Clark in a game and is looked at as something other than a basketball moment, something that we'd appreciate in the NBA or in football, right? When an athlete talks trash to another one. These are viral moments that we've loved as fans over the years. But she does it to Caitlin Clark, and you start hearing these things about Angel Reese. There are these counterproductive talking points and conversations about her that, again, have these racist undertones to them. And there's no way you can avoid it. That's just the way it is. Those undertones are there. Again, people just taking whatever issues or biases they have and applying it to sports. I find it very funny that certain individuals say, I don't like watching ESPN, or I don't like watching certain sports leagues because they make it too political. That same group of people is doing the exact same thing to Angel Reese. Y'all are taking a basketball moment and killing it with your biases and your issues. You can't even put your own biases aside when you're watching basketball, but then criticize networks or whatever for being quote unquote too political, for speaking up on real issues whenever they do and whichever way they choose to do it. But you've done that exact same thing when it comes to Angel Reese, overly criticizing her for doing what a basketball player and an athlete does. Angel Reese is not the only person who's doing the things that she does. There are a trillion athletes across the freaking country and the world who are confident and are vocal about being confident, who are outspoken, right? Who are talking trash in the midst of a game. And the thing that's a killer is she does it in a very respectful manner. She could easily be a Dylan Brooks, where you're saying things like LeBron is too old, right? You're just not acknowledging the greatness of a player. Angel Reese will talk her stuff and she'll still be able to acknowledge, no, Caitlin Clark is great, right? So-and-so is a great player. She has that balance. So again, I wonder what the issue is with what it is she's doing and why she's received this level of backlash. I know why it's happened. And again, I've said it a trillion times. There is nothing more annoying than seeing somebody take whatever personal biases or issues they have and applying it to something that it shouldn't be applied to. It should never be applied in the first place. But trying to bring it over to the sport of basketball while masquerading as a basketball fan is horrific. And again, you're bringing your personal biases and your personal political or social ideas, and you're bringing it over to the game of basketball. Just like you complained about other people do. When it was Black Lives Matter, they're making things too political. But it's okay for you to come in and bring whatever issues you have about Angel Reese as a player. As a player, as a person, it's okay for you to take those things and apply it to these basketball moments we're seeing here. We see Angel Reese talk trash. Oh, she's cocky, right? Definitely a microaggression. All of those things. We just seen that happen one too many times. And it just continuously happens year in, year out. We're almost on year 3 of this. We're almost on year 3 of this stuff where people are taking their issues and just taking it out on Angel Reese. Year 3 of this. We saw it that first year when she won her championship at LSU. Then we saw it just last year, even when she lost. And we're seeing it again here. It's really ridiculous to see this type of stuff just continue to rear its ugly head. And we're seeing people just ruin what should be a moment that's appreciated by basketball fans. I think the Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese thing has been one of the best rivalries in all of sports, right? You can advertise off of Clark versus Reese. No matter what you think about them as players, there's a lot of potential to advertise based off of that. We've seen the ratings they're able to pull when they match up against each other. Why can't that be appreciated by basketball fans, by so-called basketball fans? You know what I mean? It's just a cycle of people just applying whatever issues they have to a basketball situation under this guise that they're fans of the sport. And we're seeing them hijack it and apply their own political or social views on it, just like they complained about other people do. And I said that earlier in the video, but again, it's just so prominent and so ridiculous. It's hard to stop thinking about. It's hard to stop mentioning. So hopefully this doesn't continuously end up being a situation, right? I really don't like seeing Angel Reese be subjected to this type of stuff. And we don't really factor in the personal things about this as well. Like, how do you think she feels as a person individually, doing basketball stuff, doing stuff that any athlete would do, and then hearing, you're an angry so what, right? You're overconfident. You're too cocky. She talks too much. DEI, that sort of stuff. Like, imagine hearing that after being a basketball player. Imagine that. Imagine being subjected to those criticisms after doing basketball stuff. Makes no sense, and it lets you know that it's more than just basketball. It's not basketball stuff that's making these fans mad. There's a certain type of individual that Angel Reese is that's making people outrage. And we know what it is. So hopefully, again, this doesn't continuously end up being an issue. And this is taking nothing away from Caitlin Clark as well. And I love that Caitlin Clark is basically coming out and saying we have no place in the sport for any of that. And she said that multiple times, and I give her a ton of credit for that. One thing I'll never say is Angel Reese perpetuates any of this. And I don't think it's fair to act like she is by being expressive and talking trash and being physical in her own right. That's basketball. She recognizes that it's just basketball. They both recognize that it's just basketball at the end of the day. Angel said that after the interview. So then why are we still bringing these things into it that don't need to be brought up into it? And why are we acting like that in the first place? Like, forget basketball. So we'll see what ends up happening. Again, I hope this doesn't continuously end up being an issue, because these folks who are bringing these things into the sport, into the game, are ruining it, are making it very toxic. And there's toxicity across fan bases and sectors of fan bases across sports. And this is right up there as some of the most toxic sports fan related stuff that we've seen throughout the last couple of years.